You're entering Corsi.
Jerome Corsi today. It's Monday, October 27th, 2025. You see we have a new feature on the screen. If you take a look at the upper left-hand corner, we've got QRs. QRs will take you to our 501c3, gods5stones.com. They'll take you to, I guess, the new Corsi Nation. Got New Corsi Nation up ongoing on the website. And the third one will take you to the Swiss America offer for Walking Liberty $50 for first-time new customers. All very important. Take a look at them. Makes it easy to navigate through the site and through my various sites. Okay, that's the Walking Liberty $50. We'll talk about it in a minute. Gold is still over $4,000 an ounce. And I'm encouraging everybody to call Swiss America to get your free book on how the coming global crash is going to cause an historic gold rush. I'll give you the number here in just a second. And visit our website at CorsiNation.com. Okay, so the phone number is, once call, it's a toll-free number, 1-800-519-6268. 1-800-519-6268. Look, we have a number of stories today. A lot of them involve trade. China is going to have some meetings with Trump. I think China is really not as economically strong as China would like to present itself as being. I think China's also got some political internal problems. Looks like it's reorganizing its military. And I think China will be very interesting to see how Trump does in the talks with Xi coming up in South Korea. Trump's in Malaysia right now making trade agreements. And Trump brought an end to the Cambodia-Thailand war with new boundaries drawn, which is a pretty remarkable achievement, seeing how far that conflict has gone on. And we're going to cover a couple of other subjects here in terms of, I want to cover what I think is one of the major issues with the Democratic Party, and that is the amount of money that's around and the amount of dark money that's being laundered through the banks. And I want to focus on kind of revealing some of that evil today. We'll comment a bit about Ukraine and Putin and how this can be resolved. I think it's right now a little bit in stalemate again after the issue of our long-range Tomahawk missiles being supplied to Ukraine got finally shot down in the last minute by Donald Trump, who realized that was a bad idea, coming from General Kellogg. I've written about that in American Thinker. And so I think now we're at a standstill point, both in Gaza and in Ukraine, Russia. Russia will probably continue taking territory slowly but surely. And the war, I think, will drag on unless Trump just decides he's tired of it and quits funding Zelensky. Without money, Zelensky will dry up and blow away. And the EU will never be strong enough to be able to support him. I'm going to end up with a couple of comments on the EU. But first and foremost, I guess, I think I'd like to just cover Antifa in Portland, Oregon. And Chris, I don't know if we have any video of it. I saw some video over the weekend. But come on, we'll talk about it, because Antifa got at least one of its encampments wiped out by the National Guard in anticipation now, of the, I guess, President Trump could move the troops in if he decided he wanted to, and he may just have to. I don't think the Antifa is by any means gone in Portland, Oregon. This is a ruse they use to let one of their camps be cleared out while they go in hiding for a little while and wait their paychecks for their next assignment in Antifa while they do their day jobs going about destroying the city. It's really pathetic. Portland, Oregon used to be a beautiful city. Now it's really trashed. But I think Trump is going to take control of the cities. Here we go. In terms of this was the protests in the streets in Portland. You see how much they were. Then they had a little city set up. And so Trump went in and cleared out all these cities, cleared them out, and started arresting people.
Back up, do your job, quit arguing with us.
This is one of the nicer videos, by the way.
Yes. Well, then now the encampment's gone, but let's see what they do next. I don't believe for a minute that Antifa is gone.
No. Weakened. But,
Weakened, yes, weakened,
right.
but not gone. Okay, so they're going to get rid of the Antifa. And each one of these cities, I think, is going to be cleaned up. By before 2026, I expect that Donald Trump will have the troops and/or National Guard in 25 cities.
One more try.
And I think that's going to be part of running the elections. I doubt if the Democrats are going to be willing to go along with any rules that make any sense. What is this, Chris?
This is just another set of things that are happening in Portland here.
Portland, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Protect the trans youth. Okay. I know exactly where that is in Portland.
Right.
That's right downtown.
Got some more pictures.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things happening.
A lot of things happening. In Portland, Oregon, I think it's going to be a focus of troops just going to be in the cities now until we get this cleaned up. Okay. And I think also there's pressure on Mondami. People are beginning to realize Mondami may be arrested the first day he's in office, depending upon what he does with trying to defend illegals. We're seeing, I think, in general, Donald Trump's programs and policies are winning. He's making trade deals, for southeastern countries, addressing critical rare earth minerals, etc. At the same time, gold and silver remain high. Gold is still over $4,000 an ounce, and silver is hanging in there. Let's see where silver is exactly right now. Silver is $47, almost $48, and gold is $4,042. It's dropped a bit, but still holding above $4,000. And remember, silver's a lot cheaper. You can do a lot better with silver. Take a look at that Walking Liberty $50 offer. Okay, so now next week, food stamps, I guess coming week, Americans will be told it's the Democrats' fault. They must be told it's the Democrats' fault. This is Schumer. Schumer refuses to pass a bill until he gets more of his woke spending projects approved. And Trump is not inclined to do that. Russia's just launched a new hypersonic cruise missile, which apparently has in it a nuclear propulsion system, so it can circle the Earth to be dropped on the target when Russia decides. It's called Skyfall by NATO. It has unlimited range powered by a nuclear engine. Once you understand that, it's got the potential to change everything. That's what Michael Snyder's writing, because this menacing 9M730 Burevestnik missile, Skyfall in NATO, has the ability to be placed in the sky for use when desired, effectively changing nuclear warfare strategy. Not in our favor. Okay, I want to concentrate on a couple of issues with regards to ActBlue. And this, if you go to God's Five Stones, you can see we devoted a section to this. But I think it's something I'm going to be emphasizing in coming weeks. It's just how much money there really is out there. How much money there is for the this entire play of fraud or money going from foreign countries into NGOs or to Democratic Party elections. Okay, now a couple of reports alarmed me. In April, the Department of Justice announced that you had contractors that were not following the ActBlue platform. They were using fraud by using people's social security numbers to make these contributions, even though the people didn't know their social security numbers were being used. Large blocks of money being placed into Democratic NGOs. When they get it out, they have to have somebody who made the contribution, so they use your social security number and your name. You don't know it. Okay, then we I went to a report here. This U.S. Department of Justice Criminal Division And this is dated October 10th, 2024, last year. And it said that from January 1, 2018 to April 2024, TD Bank, which is Toronto Dominion Bank, 92% of total transaction volume went unmonitored. In other words, they didn't file any bank, suspicious fund reports. They didn't use their anti-money laundering compliance program. They turned it off. And how much money was involved? Well, they said that in that period of time, the monitoring gap amounted to approximately $18.3 trillion in transaction activity. $18.3 trillion. Well, not all of that may have been money laundering, but how much of that was drug money? How much of that was sex trade money from the border? How much of it got into Antifa? We see the bank mortgage fraud is common. The work that Joel Gilbert is doing, my friend Joel Gilbert, Letitia James on money laundering through banks and mortgage fraud. Well, there's a lot more evidence on that in terms of what we find from Scott Taylor, who has shown that in this scheme, ActBlue, for instance, the head of ActBlue bought a house in Palo Alto for $1 million and took out $30 million in mortgage loans. Well, clearly those weren't mortgage loans, but those were illegal money passed through her account as if it were a mortgage loan. Gets picked up in LexisNexis, but it doesn't get picked up in the deed. Okay, but at that time, Attorney General Merrick Garland said the bank was cooperating with the investigation by making its services convenient for criminals. TD Bank became one. That's what Merrick said. By making its services convenient to criminals, TD Bank became one. Press charges. Announcing charges, U.S. officials said the bank, 10th largest in the United States, had starved its compliance programs of investment even as it grew. Then there's Chinese money coming into here's a report. This one was published in naturalnews.com, where financial institutions flagged $312 billion in suspected Chinese money laundering networks from 2020 to 2024. Chinese money launderers and Mexican drug cartels become a symbiotic relationship with Chinese citizens seeking to evade currency controls. Okay, so there's a lot of money sloshing around in the system. And James Comer issued subpoenas to ActBlue in September. To ActBlue lawyers, as foreign donation probe kicks up. So Jim Jordan and James Comer have issued subpoenas to a current ActBlue attorney as well as his former attorneys, Democratic fundraising powerhouse, according to the New York Post. Okay, so they are looking deeply into how foreign money is transferred through these same banks for the benefit of the Democratic Party and NGOs. And what I'm finding here is that there's plenty of information around that the federal government knows the amount of money laundering that's happening, and virtually nothing's being done about it. This is the Democrats' way to, build their new world order of chaos by making sure they're first wealthy. They get the DAC house. I still don't understand why people go to Congress, end up millionaires and billionaires. Certainly millionaires. It's unconscionable. And it's really, to me, just disturbing how much money there is. It doesn't cost that much to buy a senator or a congressman in these sex and drug parties in Washington for the congressmen and the senators. It has never stopped since the 1950s, probably before then. Okay, so if we go to a couple more stories on the European Union, I'm finding that Germany in particular is self-destructing at a very rapid rate. Okay, so in Germany, now they're closing their last, see if I can find the article, the last of their nuclear power plants. And by doing it, they blow up the power plant. I'm going to give this article here to Chris. It's amazing to me. This is let's get this one put up and so people can see it. But it's amazing to me that they're actually going to blow up the towers from a nuclear power plant. There's the article, Chris. Okay, so, and you see a picture here, which they're actually blowing up one of those big towers for the nuclear plant. You can see it toppling over. So the last cooling towers of a German nuclear power plant were demolished over the weekend. So Germany thus continues symbolically and materially with its isolated energy policy path. Even the increasingly drastic economic situation seems unable to shake the German spirit. So Germans are destroying their industrial might while they're worried that their economic condition is deteriorating under massive debt. And now the German nuclear power industry is completely shut down. Okay, so Germany, once the powerhouse of the European Union, is about now to be going through some massive, I think, economic downturn, which could trigger a massive banking crisis. That's something I've been worried about now for a year, and I think it could happen. Orban, meanwhile, vows that Hungary is going to remain an island of peace and migrant-free, as he likens Brussels to Soviet oppressors, demanding that they go along with the Brussels policies. So I think what we're seeing here is a continued shift in the European Union downward trend, which is going to mean that Europe is very, very unlikely to be able to help Ukraine in a significant way in a war unless it's to supply nuclear weapons. And quickly, that's where that war is going. Chris, why don't you come on for a minute? We'll have a conversation, and then we can wrap up for today. But I think what's on my mind is that if Trump stops funding NATO and Zelensky, that war ends. And Trump's now going to get into a reconstruction plan for the Gaza. Let's see if the Gazans are just going to be relocated or if there's a plan to remove them.
Oh, there's that talk of a multinational force keeping an eye on Gaza because, as you stated last week, Hamas has worked its best to reassert its authority on the Strip. The funny thing is, I know even Donald Trump said, "Well, they got rid of the gang. They got rid of the gang. I'm not worried about that." He said that at the White House. The thing is, though, what's going on is Hamas is pretty upset that while they were fighting a war, these gangs, where some of these gang members or gangs, I should say, were muscling in their territory, meaning controlling the citizenry. So Hamas is reasserting that. That's where the public executions came from, and it can only get worse. Yes, I believe there should be a way to keep an eye on them. They're not trustworthy, but uh, do you think a multinational force would work? All things considered, the nations we have to work with.
I've never been in favor of a multinational force.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be effective. I think that the United States eventually is going to put troops there. I think that's a matter of time, but I do think we'll move in that direction. I think we'll want to stabilize the region, and we'll move more troops into Israel. I'm not sure we have any stations there now, but I don't see Trump sitting by idly when there's a chance to make sure that we have a presence in the Middle East from which to direct the Abraham Accords and try to get some stabilization to Gaza as it's reconstructed.
I totally agree with that. There has to obviously the U.S. will keep an eye on them. We'll probably give Israel some, let's just say, lip service, saying that they have some control over what's going on, which they won't. By the way, all things considered, there are going to be new elections coming up, and I'm not sure if we can trust the next person taking over for Netanyahu. Having said that, you're right. A multinational force, considering we have to work with other nations, we don't know who's infiltrating them or not, could be could cause a real situation. Yes, I do believe we should have a base there. I do believe we should keep an eye on things, and the Abraham Accords can roll forward.
Yeah, I think that that's I think that that's really where it's headed. I know the globalists would like to drag this war with Russia into Finland.
Mhm.
They'd like to go to war with Russia, but that doesn't seem to me to be a particularly bright thing to do. So, I think from here on, Trump is going to try to have to be more and more pushing the economic button, getting countries to realize that war is not a way to solve problems in a nuclear age.
This isn't the year 506. It's not the year 35 BC. That's right.
That's right.
War is not exactly great public diplomacy or great foreign diplomacy anymore. That's it's
If it ever was.
right. It never was, but it's worse now. But the depopulationists seem to enjoy it.
They just love it.
That's right. See, this is the other thing. If people haven't been paying attention to Corsi Nation and its previous incarnation, the Truth Central, for the last few years, the depopulationists will find a way, well, to depopulate, if you will.
Right. They'll do it. Check us out at God's Five Stones. We're going to be doing much more on that. G-O-D, no apostrophe on the S. F-I-V-E, you spell out as a word, and stones, S-T-O-N-E-S. There will be a new executive order coming down very quickly now. It's under preparation on election integrity. And I think people are going to find that Donald Trump is going to demand only citizens vote. There'll be an uproar among the Democrats who want to increasingly devote their party to protecting criminals and illegal immigrants and transgenders. This is Dr. Jerome Corsi. In the end, God always wins, and God will win here too. And join me in the spirit of 2 Chronicles 7:14. We need to get on our knees and ask God to forgive us for all that we've done here in violation of his laws. Dr. Jerome Corsi will be back tomorrow, CorsiNation.com. Thank you for joining us. God bless.